Jorge, there is some footage of you. I think I saw it on Fox, and I think I saw you being interviewed. I think it was on Fox. Maybe it was the Daily Caller, but you were at the border. Different story. People were jumping subjects here, and you were doing some filming, and you were approached by a coyote with a gun.
Yeah, so I'll kind of
holy shit.
Yes, let me give you guys a quick breakdown, a little context on that story. So about 3 weeks ago,
please paint that picture. Yeah, please.
Yeah, so I'm in so we our sources are saying, hey, head to Yuma, Arizona. So for those who don't know, all of our reporting on the border has been basically just Texas focused. So we haven't been to this part of Yuma. Our sources tell us go to Yuma because we're seeing all types of different nationalities, kind of cross through the sector called the Gap. So we go to this gap, and the reason
by nationalities, you mean, what do you mean all different? By that you mean even more than Latins, more than like.
Yeah. So when I got there, I was meeting men from Uzbekistan, from Georgia, from India, from Romania, from Brazil. I mean, I was like, whoa, we have just did it. We've never seen so many different nationalities kind of taking all this one round, especially coming from. I mean, to be honest, I didn't even know what Uzbekistan was till I met these guys. I had to like research. I was like, wait, okay, so. We go to this part.
You thought it was a made-up country. Maybe it is.
So the reason why they call this one sector the Gap is because there's literally a gap of border wall, and the Mexican town across Yuma, Arizona, is Los Algodones. So when I was there, I was fascinated by this one route because we would actually get video footage of these human smugglers, and they'll walk up right to the middle of that Mexico-U.S. boundary. In the middle of that, they call it the Colorado River. There's no water in the river, but they call it the Colorado River. And they'll literally take the cash payment from the migrants right there in the wide open before officially smuggling them into the U.S. So I found that fascinating because you didn't really get that in Texas. What we did get in Texas was the boat rafts, but we didn't get like
actual. And you saw evidence of payment through the bracelets.
With the bracelets, but right. we didn't get to see the cash. The cash transactions. I was fascinated by that. So I spent a whole week documenting that. I came back home, and I got these three other reporters called me and said, "Hey, Jorge, come back to Yuma. We want to document some of these human smugglers." I'm like, no problem. So I go back to Yuma, and it was a Friday morning. It's around 7 a.m. We get to the Gap. So I tell one of the reporters, his name is Justin. I say, hey, Justin, I'm going to go down to the midsection. Can you please come with me? I'm going to need an extra body down there. Because the thing is, when I was down there last week, and I kind of came back to the Yuma side, even Border Patrol was like, hey, man, like, we don't even go down there because we're like afraid that we're going to get stabbed by these guys. He's like, so we're like, don't go down there. But I went back down there with my guy, Justin. And when we were filming this one human smuggler, now what made this already kind of a red flag is when we're down there and you see a human smuggler, they're always smuggling multiple people, at least 3 to 4 to 5, up to 10, 15, 20 people. So it's always multiple people.
How do you know who the smuggler is? How do you know who the smuggler is? Are they wearing different clothes or they're different ethnicity? How do you know which one is the smuggler?
I mean, it's just obvious. Like they're the ones who are like directing where the migrants to go, and they have like no backpack on them. So they're the ones who are giving them the directions, guiding them. So, like I said, you're always seeing these smugglers bring multiple people. So the red flag here was that this one guy, which we found out is mid-level to high-level cartel, according to Border Patrol. But so we see this one human smuggler only smuggling one male. This one male that he was bringing in had a big black backpack that Border Patrol was telling us they think there was fentanyl in there. So that already was a red flag. So we see these two guys coming. Obviously, one of them is a human smuggler, and we're taking video. And the human smuggler is taking a cash payment as they're walking. And he's taking a cash payment. And to be honest, it completely slipped my mind because I was so fascinated by the video. It slipped my mind to be like, wait a minute, what's going to happen when he comes to the boundary and he sees me filming? Like, I just forgot that, we're going to have an altercation. So we're filming him. He obviously gets to the boundary. He notices that I'm filming, and his tone it was very aggressive. It was in Spanish. So the guy freaks out.
Wait. So real quick. So sorry. When you say the boundary, is it a no man's land? It's like not Mexico or the United States. It's just.
Yeah, it's kind of like a no man's land. Like there's like not a real boundary there to like, you can walk through, walk out, but you're kind of in the middle of it. What they call.
And if you look back, how far back how far back is the United States? How far back is a 7-Eleven?
I would well, back to the U.S. I would say less than. I mean, I think I would say like 300, 200 feet.
Okay, so, and then is there anyone over there, or you guys are just basically now out in the desert by yourselves?
We're basically out there, kind of on our own. We do call this kind of a no man's land, just because of, you could just walk through and out. So we're filming. The guy obviously sees that we're filming, and is very angry. is asking us why we're filming, who we were, and then as he's saying this, he puts his hand on his gun and just was getting aggressive. And then, so I stopped filming because I was already scared, and I stopped filming. And as soon as I stopped, he tells me a couple of times, put that phone on the ground, put that phone on the ground. And so I'm assuming that he was going to steal the phone to basically take away the video evidence. So I don't know if this was like a fight or flight moment, but as soon as he told me that, my mind went blank, and all I did was turn around and I just ran right back to Yuma. And I kind of told myself, I'm like, you know what?
And where was Justin?
Justin ran too. So Justin is running with me. So, and I was the one who ran first, and Justin followed my lead. But my kind of thinking was, I was like, you know what? If this guy shoots, then he shoots. But the ball is in his court. Let's see if he's gonna do it. But all I knew is I wasn't gonna stay there, and I definitely wasn't gonna give a cartel guy my phone. So, you know, I run, I get back to safety in the Yuma, the border wall, and the two other journalists that we came with, you know, run up to us. They're like, "Hey, what happened? What happened? We saw that." And we told him what happened. And then I looked
when
back.
You turned back around, did you see him? When you stopped running, you
No,
looked back?
no, I didn't even look back, man. You know, I was just like, boom. And as soon as I got back to Yuma, I looked through the video, and then there was a part where I could get a perfect frame of him with the gun. So I screenshotted the video picture, and I sent the picture to a reporter. His name is Julio Rosas of Town Hall Media. Julio Rosas is a great friend of mine who's always on the front lines. We're basically brothers. We met during the BLM ride. So, you know, when you cover those moments with somebody, you grow pretty close pretty quick. So I sent it to Julio. Julio gives me a call, make sure that I'm all right. Then I sent that photo to Bill Matossian of Fox News. And
Armenian.
Bill,
That sounds Armenian. That sounds Armenian.
No, white guy, Bill
Oh,
Matossian.
damn.
So I sent it to Bill Matossian. Bill goes back, is messaging me back and says, "Okay, man, you got to post that on Twitter." So I go on Twitter, I post it. It goes crazy viral, of course. And then, you know, I go back to the border the very next. We go back to the same spot early in the morning next day, which is Saturday. We go back, and Border Patrol.
You and Justin go back together?
Yes. And then Border Patrol comes up to us and says, "Hey, were you those guys that encountered that armed human smuggler?" We said yes. And then he was like, "Our whole Border Patrol sector in Yuma had a whole briefing on that photo." And they're like, that photo was so good for evidence. He's like, "We're actually sending they call it a BORTAC, which is the Border Patrol tactical unit that is actually armed." So while we were down there, we got to see the armed Border Patrol agents actually running investigations. And according to our sources, they told us that guy that we ran into was a mid-level to high-level cartel member, and they believe the individual that he brought in large amount of fentanyl. That's why he was armed. That's why he was only smuggling one guy. So very, you know, I'm just going to be straight up, you know, very scary situation. I've never been in, you know, I've been in some close kind of moments, you know, covering rides, covering borders, but nothing where I was kind of front to face with a cartel member, and he was threatening me to shoot me, and he was threatening to steal my phone. So I've never encountered anything even remotely close to that moment.